difficult to follow up from the morning, which was so electrifying and so dynamic. But I come from Bombay, and we produced. We also produced something day before yesterday, and in a very, very, very interesting way. And I think Bombay has that, emerging hope in a very oblique way, I would say. What I'll do is I'll bring you the story of a road from Mumbai, and a story of a place called Malad, which is the northwestern suburb of Mumbai, and I will tell you the story of this place between 1999 and 2010. This is Malad West, and those of who know Bombay, Malad is western suburb. You take the train to Borivali, and Malad is one of the last ones, and it's become famous now for many malls that have come. The earliest call centers of Bombay came here, and when I say earliest, I mean it's 2000. So just kind of sketch the place for you, and this is in 99, 2000 how Malad was, and also some other parts of the city was, of the suburb was. Malad also had a big garbage dumping ground. And this is the creek which kind of finally joins the Arabian Sea. And there were farms here, and the farms would be growing some vegetables, some crop, but largely vegetables. There were a bit of small industrial estates, some old village, and some old housing, cooperative housing society in the south over here and towards the east. In 2010, which is 10 years, the dumping ground had become a large garden and a large, place of call centers, full of call centers. And this part, if you remember from the earlier picture, this also changed. I will just go through very quick, very slowly, through that change of those 10 years. So in 1999, there was some news that the Bombay High Court had directed the closure of this dumping ground, hearing the case of one cooperative society over here, saying that it is hazardous to health and stuff like that. Yeah, next one. And around that time, in around 2000, we saw these large hoardings on the road, and the hoardings were quite ambiguous. And then they said, they read Mindspace. Nobody knew what Mindspace was. So it says, a community for global business, seamless, scalable across cities, proven modes of success. Welcome to the high-tech community for thought leadership. Now, in 2000, thought leadership, community, high-tech were kind of interesting words. And Mindspace, we didn't know what was happening, right? By 2001, the dumping ground was barricaded. And slowly, these buildings emerged in 2003, 2004. Go ahead. And 2004, the first call center of the place called Intelnet, that came out. And 2000, actually the slide is cut. In 2004, there was, go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah. In 2004, next to this road, on the side of the dumping ground, that is the dumping ground, a large mall, at that time the largest in the city of Mumbai, emerged, opened. It was called the Inorbit Mall. And then the Mindspace website kind of, was published and all of those things, and it became clear to us that Mindspace is a kind of a township which is getting built by, of course there are several consultants who were involved, and it had all kinds of stories of how investment was to come to the city, how it should kind of move in this place. And we came to know that this was very clearly a K. Raheja project. And the land belonged to, in the register of titles, the land belonged to one trust called the Family Trust, which whose last living heir had died and handed over the trust to Nusli Wadia as chairperson. And Nusli Wadia had then handed over, entered into a collaboration with K. Raheja with one entity called Fernani Hotels, and where the trust would give land to Fernani Hotels, and Fernani Hotels would give a fixed rent to the trust. And what Fernani Hotel did was, it turned out to be a K. Raheja's extended office. Fernani Hotel in turn transferred the land to K. Raheja Corporation, and K. Raheja developed this township and created third-party interest, because then subsequently pieces were leased, and long lease and short leases, and also sold. And it was interesting that the K. Raheja Corporation made money. Fernani Hotel gave us a fixed rent to the trust, to the Wadias, and Wadias who had acquired land historically, not Wadia, the trust had acquired land historically through a different means altogether. And even currently there is a case going on the land between the Wadias and the Rahejas, where Wadias are claiming much higher compensation beyond the fixed rent, because they say that the contract has been kind of not followed by the Rahejas. So it went through a interesting kind of So right now nobody knows who owns the land really. There are multiple kind of claimants, everybody, and interestingly, Manu Singhvi and Jaitley fought on the same side for the Rahejas. On the other side, it was Fali Narman who was fighting with the Wadias. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. There are various small stories inside how was land sold and stuff like that. Go ahead. And finally, finally in around 2005, a whole set of, this was where the garbage dump yard was. So this emerged in 6 years. Go ahead. Yeah, this is how it looks today. Go ahead. There are hotels, there are these residential apartments, there are this whole thing. Go ahead. And it also kind of brought in, a large shopping mall and a large supermarket. Go ahead. Yeah. And so this is what happened to this piece of land. Immediately next to it, which was the fields, go ahead. The fields also, because responding to this change, the fields also changed very, very quickly and rapidly, because overnight the rates over here kind of, spiraled. Go ahead. And in between the fields, you had these kind of new housing blocks, typically G+7, because, go ahead. This is the plan, and go ahead. This is the old farming, revenue department map. The land parcels were in this, shape and size. Over which, go ahead. Over which the roads were kind of laid, and you had in Bombay, in Maharashtra, actually we follow this thing of, the land is kind of the existing property pattern will remain as it is, and the plan will kind of put, will lay its layer over it. So you have, so if somebody has a property like this, then a part of its property would go for a road, and a part of it, a very small, will get into becoming a housing reserved for housing. And then, so go ahead. So that would, so go back, please.
Did you say Hiranandani area?
No. This is Mindspace. This is toward the west. So if you remember this, if you just keep note of this, and this, go ahead. So these are this, and this. So the whole thing kind of starts developing, and then you see that all these small plots starts becoming weirdly shaped things. So you have a logic which existed from an agrarian landscape overlaid with a development plan, and then you have these new communities which come because the call center and the malls have come. This is happening in 10 years. Right? It's very, very rapid. So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So this is the main part. So go ahead. Yeah. So go back, please. Go back, please. Yeah. No. Yeah. So in the 90s again, so Bombay has something on the master plan, but then there are many such plans which are made for a variety of purposes. This is a plan for improving transportation infrastructure, and in late 80s and early 90s, this plan was made, which said that we'll make 14 new roads in the city by widening existing roads and constructing new roads. So, for example, the sea link is a part of that road also. So this is the road that we are talking about. Our place is somewhere there. No, here, this one. This is the place that we are talking about. Our place is somewhere here. Go ahead. So, yeah. So we'll go back to our, our locality. Here. Go ahead. Yeah. This is what happens in the 10 years. Go ahead. Can you go back a little bit? So if you see this road, which is built new, go back. So this is the road which is built, and then you have some older settlements which are now marked as slums, and then there is a hill, and there's another older settlement. This is another road here, and there's another road, this road. There's a road to be made from here, which is basically from the malls and the call center, going all the way to the highway. And that road, go to the next one. That road has to be made, go through this. And when that happens, part of these neighborhoods, these settlements, these they get affected. Go ahead. And what happens is they are moved from one locality to another locality over here, into this these kind of blocks. Go ahead. These blocks look like this. Go ahead. Yeah, this is how they look. Go ahead. And then from here, Bombay kind of develops interesting financial mechanisms, So you can move people from here to here, and then you can move the abstract development potential from one land to another land which is to the north. So the development potential of this land, it's like this chair has a potential of me being able to sit over here. That potential, without the chair, of me being able to sit over here is moved. Okay? Now it's very, very abstract, but it is like this. So that is moved, it's called the TDR, the Transfer Development Right. So that is moved from here to here. So go ahead, please. And then there are plenty of such roads which are kind of built, and then you have a whole landscape of houses flat and then the road going from front to foot. Go ahead, please. And typically this is the kind of rehabilitation that between these two buildings, it is 10 feet and this is G+7, and recently there is also a report that came that said that the number of TB cases has exponentially increased in these localities. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Yeah. So the garbage dump yard changed, the road came in, these fields changed, the older villages which are there also changed. We'll see very quickly how they change. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. So these are the old villages. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, and they have their own intensity. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. 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 Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, there's a lot of technical. So a village like this, go ahead, will start kind of, this is not, it's different from Delhi because Delhi has a red line around it, doesn't allow it to change, so it's kind of, here everything is a part of the city, so it kind of erupts from inside. Go ahead. Go ahead. So in a village like this, you start these things mushrooming, and perfectly, this is all within the plan. This is a part of the plan itself. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. While all of this is happening, there are new kind of dynamics and new ownership which emerges. Go ahead, please. And this is my favorite building. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, there are property solutions. There is food guys. There are all kinds of things. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, so this is my favorite building. It has this kind of, go ahead. So it has this photography, doctorized homeopathy, then angel brokering, then fashion model, go ahead. Card making, marriage guys, the whole range of things that kind of, starts coming together as new entrepreneurships. Go ahead. Go ahead. And the last section, this is basically, the garbage dump and the mangroves. Go ahead. And the garbage dump, parts of it has become a large city park. Go ahead. Go ahead. the new inhabitants have started making their own kind of groups, and then they kind of then they're now fighting for the mangroves and the environmental issues. Go ahead. This is a park. Go ahead. Yeah, so this is a park, basically. So this is one call center, this is one park, this is another park. Go ahead. And what happened was, go ahead. Yeah, so this is a new set of group who use these roads for jogging and all those things. Go ahead. What has happened is this, because it was the old dumping ground, it was closed very hastily, and you have this. So the computers of the call center started conking off because the gases from the dumping ground started, entering them. So now they have agencies who are specializing in dealing with those specific gases. Actually, go ahead. Yeah. So that's it. So basically, infrastructure does not happen. Yesterday I was talking to Anand Dev yesterday. Infrastructure has a political economic context from where it emerges, and it kind of, and in the morning Bashiti was saying it's kind of it's a pill that is to be taken as if everything will be alright. Everything doesn't become alright. Everything kind of creates more complications, and then. But the point I'm trying to make is, infrastructure has to work itself out in the city. Like the big plan has to still work itself out in the city. City is not a benign entity which kind of keeps quiet and just listens. It works itself out, and it works itself out in strange and oblique ways. Sometimes making noise and sometimes silently. But it works itself out.
So we decided in the morning that I would riff off of Prasad's story because he had a story and he wanted to tell it in this particular way of historic set of Google images over time. I'm going to transport you a little bit away to a place called Gurgaon. I live there. मैं वहीं पे काम करती हूँ, मैं वहीं पे रहती हूँ. Some of my work is also from Gurgaon. And the reason I sort of want to focus more on the vision part of our presentation. So in Prasad's presentation, in this story, the plan overlays on stuff that's happening in the city. And when that plan overlays, it doesn't mean it's just a drawing somewhere. It means it has lines, and those lines are going to become real objects in people's lives. And people are going to take decisions basis those real objects. Do they take decisions basis the line when the line is drawn, or do they wait for the object to appear to take those decisions? Depends on where they are in this system, where they are in the power system of, in getting that information. Are they getting that information early? Are they getting it late? So there is a politics to the plan and to who gets informed about the plan, when and how. A few years ago, Partho and me, CPR does a little bit of work thinking about comparisons between India and China. And I'm an urban planner. So जब मैं architecture पढ़ रही थी और urban planning पढ़ रही थी, तब मुझे ये सिखाया गया था कि plan बनता है सन 2021-2041 के लिए, और आपको एक नज़रिया होना चाहिए कि उस टाइम पे, उस point in that future point of time आपका शहर क्या होगा, इसकी एक भूमिका बना के then you have to make the plan. So that's the idea, that's the logic of planning, that you set some sort of a date in the future, and then you imagine what your city would be like, or what you want the city to be like, and then you put rules in place to make that happen. That's the idea. But the logic of plan, suppose there's a 20-year time horizon to do this. What we found was that not just in India, but in places across the world, when cities and governments who are making these plans are reacting to the world around them, they don't often respect those time horizons that they have made themselves. तो अगर उन्होंने 20 साल का plan बनाया है, तो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि 20 साल तक वही प्लान बना रहेगा. Every 5 years or every 3 years, something is tweaked in the plan to change it. And those changes could be because, like in the case of Shenzhen in China, which is, as we know, a very famous city, जहाँ पे SEZ बना और manufacturing हुई, every few years, the idea of Shenzhen was tweaked to leverage a new opportunity. And this was done formally through the planning mechanism, through the mechanism of the state. Next, please. And the same thing happened in Gurgaon. But ये जो लाइनें बनाई गई थी, who was in the room when these lines were made, is something that we're all talking about and thinking about now. But we were not in the room. We know that at that point of time, right? And I'm speaking from a Gurgaon of today, where we know it's an elite city. There's an old city which has been there for a very long time. There's a new city which the DLFs and the Ansars and the Unitex of the world has built. People from all over the country, a lot from Delhi, South Delhi, West Delhi, have invested in these places, into very fancy and very expensive houses and are living there. पर आज वो लोग किस चीज़ के लिए लड़ रहे हैं? पानी के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, हवा के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, जंगलों के लिए लड़ रहे हैं. These are people who invested in homes that were built in those jungles by cutting those jungles. So my point here is that when a planner or a government or somebody takes the responsibility of envisioning the city, they have certain facts, कुछ considerations लेके वो कर रहे हैं, but people are then investing in those cities. So they're making certain life decisions, personal decisions, decisions for business sake, political decisions, whatever they may be, without necessarily all those facts on the table. तो जब सन 2005 में मैंने गुड़गांव में घर खरीदा था, तब even as a planner, I didn't really think about कि ये ज़मीन अरावली की ज़मीन थी या नहीं थी. खरीद लिया घर. Today I'm standing and fighting for water. So there is a sort of logics of planning and visioning that I think we all need to think of. Next, please. And the other thing I wanted, that's the plan for 2021, and there's a next please. And for 2031, and these plans were changed really fast within a few years. And now we know that a lot of this changing was happening to bring more and more land under development and in order to sort of create possibilities of more real estate development, because that was what was perceived as, that was the pressure, that was what was perceived as a profitable and a logical thing to do, considering that Gurgaon was growing and clearly people wanted to invest in it. What happened and what's happening right now is a different issue, but that was the imagination then. Coming back to infrastructure, this is a visual of DLF Cyber City, and this is the visual that you will find if you Google DLF Cyber City Gurgaon or Gurgaon, because this is the image that people want you to see about Gurgaon. So what you see in the front is a highway that DLF built. It's a 16-lane highway. It split communities into two. There were existing villages that were affected by it. All of that happened. But the idea of the infrastructure was to really showcase the city in a particular way. And the infrastructure is linked to the plan, because if you go back and you see the plan of Gurgaon, the infrastructure is actually very clearly in the plan. So that road became like a way for people who had land along the road to really sort of claim that this is how the city is going to grow. हम ये सड़क बना रहे हैं, इस सड़क पे property values बढ़ेंगे, इस सड़क पे ऐसे लोग रहेंगे, ऐसे developments आएंगे. And like Prasad showed, everything else was expected to fall in line with that line that somebody has drawn on that sheet of paper. Next, please. But if you see the reality, this is the rapid metro, which is always on the verge of being shut down because there are no funds to run it. But if you see what's between the rapid metro and those listening towers behind, that is the urban village. Those are the sites I study. And those are the sites that are always responding to these lines that somebody else is drawing on the paper. And I won't make that dichotomy between, I'm not saying these villages are completely innocent. Lots of my respondents are people who have got into tie-ups with developers. उनकी ज़मीन उन्होंने लीज की है, बेची नहीं है, because they also see that they have a long-term, there's a possibility of making a long-term profit on something. So there is all sorts of implications of these various networks that are going on. But the point is that line unleashed a whole series of realities, of adjustments. Next, please. that people made. That is Sikandarpur village, also on the metro. The Delhi metro itself, in this case, actually split the village into two. So the metro is running above the main market of the village, and so it has commercialized one end of the village completely by just because it was built. And accounts from people in the village will go back to ये पहले bullock cart का track था, and now we have the metro there. So there's this whole sort of lived memory of how infrastructure has changed life for somebody who thinks of his village as his community, and this community which is responding to a larger city that's grown around it. Next please. So I'll sort of just want to sum this up by saying that the story of Gurgaon is always being told as unplanned शहर है, ऐसी planning, ऐसा शहर नहीं बनना चाहिए, एक बहुत unique मॉडल की तरह उसको दर्शाया जाता है. Whether the person is in praise of Gurgaon as, oh, it's private city, this is how cities should be made because the state is not capable of making cities. That's one narrative that the real estate sector has promoted about Gurgaon. Or the counter narrative that says it's not planned, बना तो दिया पर अब infrastructure नहीं है, बिजली नहीं है, पानी नहीं है, all of that stuff. Either which ways, it's being held up as this example for the world. My contention is that it's not unique. In Bombay, which is a larger city with a long history, you have to tell stories of specific infrastructure to showcase the same things that all of Gurgaon is showcasing. So it's not new. This is the idea that there is this ultimate utopic vision of a city which we are all working towards is itself a myth. तो बनता बिगड़ता टूटता शहर अधूरा शहर ही शहर है. Like Anand said in the morning, पूरा शहर क्या होता है? ऐसी कोई चीज है? Is there something called a complete city? So so this is at every point of time. The first image I showed you of DLF Cyber City, that's the image, and that's a real photograph. But even much before the road was built, a drawing, a rendering of that same exact thing was shopped around to create a buy-in for a vision of a city that looked like that at a particular point of time. Today, that rapid metro that is going next to that road, DLF is finding it hard to sustain. At one point of time, they were busy pushing that road and that vision. So things change over time. So there has to be a temporal view, and I think it's absolutely impossible to sit at one point of time and make any view of the city that is, this. So, and I'll sort of take that analogy back to Delhi. दिल्ली में हम लोग CPR बहुत सारे लोग एक मैं भी दिल्ली करके एक कैंपेन के हिस्सा हैं, and this is a citizen campaign that started about 18-20 months ago in anticipation of the new master plan. तो 2041 के लिए 2041 master plan is being made currently in Delhi, and the National Institute of Urban Affairs has been commissioned to do studies and preparatory work for it. And what we did was, because there were a lot of activist groups that were concerned about the plan, we said let's all start talking to each other. And as a planner, it's been fascinating to watch the conversations or to be part of these conversations, because the first contention was that hota kya hai plan and does it really make any difference to my life? I don't relate to the plan. Ye master plan kya cheez hai? I'm a street vendor, I have these issues, but I don't know how to represent these issues in the language of the plan. So the language of the plan and the planner became this ominous, it was presented by group after group as this thing, this set of lexicons, terms, this whole thing that we are not part of and we don't understand, and therefore we cannot engage. So the central tension in the campaign, which at present is actually, has actually found some space to have a conversation with the technocrats, the planners who are actually working on this. Where it will go is a different issue. But the central tension in this was कि हम आंदोलन बने रहें और इस सिस्टम के बाहर से बात करें, या हम इस भाषा को समझने की कोशिश करें और इस सिस्टम के अंदर जाके बात करें. Of course, it's not an either or, we know that. But this was constantly the articulation. And there again, the issue was what can the plan even do for us? And it emerged that people on the ground could also see the limitations of the plan. They didn't know that they could see it, but they could. They had powers to analyze the plan and the document that they did not know they had. So the meetings that we did over this 1.5 whatever, more than 1.5 year period, actually developed a vocabulary to be able to say, I'm a street vendor, these are the sections of the plan that I can see myself in, but this is the way that these sections don't see my problems. And therefore, अगर मुझे अपनी दिक्कत बतानी है, तो मुझे इस तरीके से उसको दर्शानी पड़ेगी. So just bringing it back to the idea of visioning and who must vision and who can vision the city, and then in what languages that vision has to be co-created or fed back into the system. It's something that I think a lot of us struggle with, especially those who are trained in urban disciplines but are also in parts of other mobilizations and movements. And we're always trying to see whether our training can help in any way, but on the other hand, we also know that our training has limitations. So just wanted to end there and see if people had questions. तो केवल ये और वो तो नहीं है ना, बीच के भी बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस हैं ना, तो बीच का, लेकिन बीच का ऑप्शन निकालने के लिए आपको बात करनी पड़ेगी ना लोगों से. तो यही मुद्दा था मेरा.
किससे बात करें?
लोगों से जो रह रहे हैं ऑलरेडी शहर में. अगर बस्तियां शहर, जैसे दिल्ली के केस में बहुत सारी बस्तियां हैं जो 30-40 साल से बसी हुई हैं, और अगर मास्टर प्लान उनको नज़रअंदाज कर देता है तो वो अपने में एक प्रॉब्लमेटिक सिचुएशन है, क्योंकि वो ऑलरेडी बसी हुई हैं. तो अगर आप ऊपर से एक रंग भर देंगे मास्टर प्लान में जो उससे नहीं कॉरेस्पॉन्ड करता है, तो उससे किसी की हेल्प नहीं हो रही है, ना मास्टर प्लान की हो रही है, ना उन लोगों की हो रही है जो बसे हुए हैं. तो इसका कुछ क्रिएटिव सोल्यूशन निकालने के लिए एक डायलॉग क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा between people and the plan, right? That's what I'm talking about. का कंसर्न बिल्कुल वैलिड है, और ये चीज़ ज़रूर मतलब जब शहर बढ़ता है आगे तब ये चीज़ ज़रूर उसमें कंसिडर होनी चाहिए. नहीं होती है, उसके बहुत सारे कारण हैं, इस बारे में हम बहुत देर तक बात कर सकते हैं, लेकिन आपका मुद्दा बिल्कुल.
अच्छा, ये क्लियर कर दीजिए.
The dream of the planner is to kind of, I mean, modern planner is to kind of have a very nicely laid grid where you have more or less square or rectangular, plot sizes. And there is a reason for this, because it makes sense to have land like that shaped and sized, because then you can build your building there. Imagine if you have a long linear plot or a plot which is very irregularly shaped, then it's difficult to make these modern objects. And that process of converting that land from an agrarian logic, because the shape and size of the agrarian logic was dependent on the logics of fertility. Land was subdivided in a strange way, because a small piece of land having same amount of output was equal to a large piece of land having the same amount of output. The fertility is what gave it was the parameter to kind of equate. So the shape and size of land didn't matter. But when you shift it into industrial and commercial and residential plots, shape and size matter. And the modern planner kind of tries to kind of convert those shapes and sizes into rectangles and squares. Of course, because laying of infrastructure is easier, you can lay pipelines and roads and stuff like that. And that process is what I call as urbanization, actually, urbanization of land. And that process has been different for different cities. For example, Bombay, you saw this process where you have a land framework pattern which is already there, on which you have the development plan. Bombay planners would have loved to be in Delhi, where the government had taken away all the land, erased all those strange shapes and sizes, where then they could have made their grid. In Gujarat, which is kind of now, outskirts of Ahmedabad, and Ahmedabad largely is now pushing for, and this is not a new push. This is kind of from 1915 the British government was trying to push this, never succeeded. It was what was called the town planning schemes, under which if there are 100 people owning different sized pieces of land, then those 100 people would have come together. Their land would have then been shaped and given back to them. They would of course get smaller pieces of land because then you would establish roads and this and that. This process, land pooling also, I mean, there are various kinds of terms. But this process never worked anywhere in the British India because one person did not own the land. The land was owned by multiple people, by families, by tillers, by people who are renting it, who are subleasing it, this, that, all kinds of things. So, but in Gujarat they have been successful in kind of, identifying one person, one land, and then nowhere in the country it is kind of, it is working out. But it's kind of, so this process, this reconfiguration of land plots is one of the critical processes of urbanization, which is kind of, which becomes a DNA almost for urban processes to kind of, take place subsequently. So you're right.
But in a greenfield kind of a situation like Gurgaon, for example, you have the landowners who are on the fringes of the city are also anticipating this development process. So in the Delhi area, because Abadi areas of villages are actually left alone and only the agricultural land is acquired and used for this process of urbanization, villages that can actually become partners in development. I'm not saying that they benefit necessarily, but they realize that they don't benefit only later. Initially, they are very much engaged in this process of anticipating development and increased land values and trying to cash in on it. So there's also that we must understand. It's not an oppositional situation.